All right, so a little recap of the week. The first week is not very exciting. Our time has been spent establishing a good understanding of a marker / cue system. Hey, bud. So what a marker is, it is a cue or a sound that marks a moment in time that we like something that the dog does, and then it announces the reward. So, hey, prior to training, these markers and cues, they mean nothing. So I've been spending a lot of time conditioning him to the sound announcing some form of reward. Oh, sorry, I can't talk. So for him, that's treats. It could be food, it could be play, toys, whatever. But for him, it's been food, so that's been great. So he has multiple cues that I've been using. The first one is a clicker. Oh boy. I use the clicker a lot in the beginning to shape behaviors. I like the consistency of the sound. It always, the tone of it never fluctuates. So if I'm really enjoying something, if I'm not very impressed, if I'm frustrated, none of that comes across with the clicker. So I like to use it at the beginning to shape behaviors, to build enthusiasm, and create that clarity of showing him that I like that he did something. When I click, that means the behavior's over. He can come get a reward from me. Hey, so when I'm shaping behaviors, what I'm doing is using my hand as a lure for him to follow it around, and then I kind of put him into whatever position behavior that I want. When he shows that behavior, I click and reward. The other cues that I use, the two words are going to be good and okay, and right now they a little bit mean the same thing. The biggest difference is good is going to be something that I use to create duration in each behavior, and okay is going to be our terminal marker. So if I say good, I want him to remain in that behavior. Good means I'm bringing food to him, and okay means he can come out of behavior. And with all of these markers, it's very important that the marker happens first before any type of suggestion that you're giving some form of a reward. I want him responding to those cues and sounds and not so much my movements and things like that. So if I lure him into a sit, I'm going to say good and then present the reward. And when I'm ready for him to come out of behavior, I'm going to say okay and then move for him to follow out of behavior. And again, that's because I want him to remain in behavior until I release him from it. So I have to build a little bit of neutrality in my movements for him to understand that. So the beginning of the week, it was mostly just about showing him the behavior that I liked, and he didn't really have to remain in behavior for any type of duration. Now I'm starting to slowly make him kind of remain in that behavior for longer and longer times durations. I'm not doing it too much just yet, but no and those are going to be more of that's going to be our infraction marker. So if he comes out of behavior too soon or he won't go into behavior, I'm going to say the word no and then apply leash pressure. I'm not quite there yet. I don't really want to cap any of the enthusiasm of behavior, so I'm not using too much leash pressure just yet. That's going to be a lot of next week, is showing him what leash pressure means and how to respond to it. So it's really going to help with his pulling. And I don't like the pulling, but we're gonna get there. I'm not naming anything just yet as far as commands go. We're playing around with it a little bit, but I want to make sure that he's consistently going into behavior before I put a word on it, just to avoid disassociation. I want to make sure that the command is signaling the exact behavior that I'm looking for and not something else accidentally because he's not all the way going to behavior right off the bat. You ready? You want to show them some stuff? So we'll use, you gotta be in the shot. You're so short. Let's come over here with your pace. So we'll use the place as an example. Okay. When I lure him on, as soon as he goes on there, that is me clicking rewarding to show that that's the behavior that I wanted. And then for duration, it's going to be more so this. Good. So I'm waiting for him to kind of sit. And I use attention and engagement as a form of when I want want to reward him. So I'm taking a little bit too long, and that's okay. Good. And I try not to make too much of a pattern, good, to when I'm doing his duration marker, because I want it to be not very predictable. So we'll kind of do a little movement to get him used to that, build neutrality with that, good. So I'm saying good, and then I'm presenting the food, and then the same thing, okay. Then moving for him to come out of behavior. Because he is so, he's so involved with everything happening around him, he's very easily distracted. Like right now, he's kind of just, because I'm not actively engaging with him, he's trying to sniff things around the room. So I've been doing a lot of stuff out on the, I don't remember, the front porch of the kennel. So when you first walk into the main building, that little area that's covered, I've been doing a lot of stuff there because it's, I always start with low distractions. So everything's usually done in here. We've been doing a lot of stuff in here, but I've been kind of playing around with him with teaching behaviors out there because I want to build a better engagement with him when there's things happening around. So I'm kind of doing that a little bit more in the learning phase, more so than I would other dogs, because he's so kind of like, meow, just go sniff all of these things. I want to put value on him working with me and engaging with me. So that's really been something I've been doing a lot with him, more so than I do a lot of the younger doggies. Right, bud? Yeah, but he's doing great. Next week we're gonna do a little bit more duration work, slowly upping the distraction level and incorporating a little bit more leash pressure response. So I want him to learn that when there's tension in the leash, that he should move into it instead of continuing to push into it, or away from, I don't know the words I'll use. Instead of pulling, when he feels the tension, I want him to move into it to create that lack of tension. Dogs naturally resist pressure, and it's something that's continuously reinforced. When he pulls, he's learned that he can just deal with a little bit of discomfort to get to where he wants to go. The rule of thumb is when the pressure comes off, that is the behavior that is rewarded and reinforced. So dogs learn pretty quickly. They deal with that little bit of an annoyance around their neck to get to where they want to go, because when they get to their final destination, that's when you stop pulling, because they stop pulling. So I hope that makes sense. I'm starting to ramble a little bit. Anyways, that's our first week. I know it's not very exciting. It'll get a little bit more and more in depth with things as we go. I'll start naming stuff next week, and I'll have a little bit of a list for you depending on him. He's being pretty good and consistent with everything, so that shouldn't be a problem. All right. Is he happy 4th of July? Is he a good boy? Okay.